Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's coverage of the Welcome Home Jayme Class 200. Tonight from the Merchant Row Hampshire Motor Speedway for the VASR Stock Car Championship. Before we get into tonight's action, I'd like to give a warm welcome back to the teenage girl Jayme Claus. Jayme escaped from her kidnapper's cabin Thursday night after nearly 3 months of being kept in captivity and abuse. Jayme, we wish you the best of luck in your journey to your life. Admire your bravery and strength you showed after everything you went through, and to get yourself back to safety and let you know that there are people who are care for you and love you. So it's a little shout out there to our special Jayme Claus for everything she's gone through in the last week. Of course, being kidnapped and kept in those horrible conditions. So just continue to pray for her and her family. She's currently living with her aunts right now over in Wisconsin. But anyway, with tonight's race, of course, second in mind here tonight. Getting things ready for the VSR Stock Car Championship race number 5. Of course, the inaugural season of the VASR. We'll be joined later tonight by Stephen Gale. Unfortunately, he's a little bit late coming back from work, so I'll have to wait for him to join me here in the broadcast booth here shortly. But qualifying currently underway. As currently Tommy Gossett sitting on the pole in that number 80 machine. Currently here with about a minute left of qualifying. Also, let you know that Jayme Claus herself will actually be watching this broadcast. Thanks to Douglas Carlson, one of the admins here and officials in VSR, being a family friend of her and her family. He will be sending her the link to this broadcast, actually, so make sure you wish her the best. And in the comments below, or even in the chat on the side, if you want to right now, we're live. And just let her know that you all care for her and all of well wishes and whatnot. As we are wrapping this up here in qualifying, though, from my hometown track here in New Hampshire. Definitely one of my favorite racetracks, of course. Maybe a little bit biased because of the fact, but overall, just one of my favorite racetracks in real life, of course, going to the races. And even here on the simulator, I love driving at this track, one of my better racetracks, and it's just a fun track to watch races at, seeing the different grooves on the track. You get the third lane, and you kind of have lane below that. It's pretty hard to pass here, but it drives like a short track, and those are always very exciting. So as you see these guys now starting to grid up, I'm going to take you now through the LCTV starting grid here. Tommy Goss on the pole at the time of 29.602. He's going to start on pole in that number 80 machine. Shane Strawn as the sponsor on that car. Just a message on that car after he lost his teacher to a form of cancer. So also thoughts and prayers to Tommy Gossett and his school. But anyway, starting on his outside is the number 03 machine of Corey Rexford. It'll be your front row for tonight's race. Starting number 2 here tonight, Matt Jackson in the number 8 Napa Chevrolet, and is outside Victor Valley in the number 7. Or number 3 here tonight, we have the driver of the 13 machine, Nathan Stewart, on his outside, the 86 of Douglas Carlson. Then running out the field of qualifiers tonight, Corey Boudinot in the 34. Actually, that runs out your field of drivers in total here tonight. It looks like Brian Grubbs was actually in this race in practice, but unfortunately, it does not look like he is in this race tonight. So, looks like we're going to have 7 drivers for tonight's action. Yes, agreed. I do like Atlanta better. But still one of my favorite racetracks. Atlanta is probably my favorite. But Bristol and New Hampshire and even Martinsville probably going towards the top 5, top 10 of that list for me. But it is my hometown track, so like I said, definitely have some biasness right there. But as we roll through turns number 3 and 4 here, about to hit the green flag. And pace car is in. And the green flag is waving here tonight from New Hampshire. Tommy Gossett on the jump with Victor Valley on his, Corey Rexford on his outside right there. But now A Machine going to pull ahead as we headed into turn number 1. Now off of turn number 2, Corey Rexford on the outside as you see the 8 Machine right there. Matt Jackson trying to get a run on him. Oh, he gets turned though. 3 of Corey Rexford gets turned by the 8 of Matt Jackson. We got cars in the back spinning around. That is Victor Valley going around. Douglas Carlson got a big piece of it. He's in the outside wall, and the 7 Machine going to spin around here. In lap 1, we already get a caution flag. As pretty much complete chaos happened there. Pretty much right from the start. Definitely not what we wanted to see starting things out here tonight. As already under the first caution flag. We're going to take a look back and see what exactly started all of that. We saw the contact there between the 8 and the 03. I believe there was contact at least. I could be mistaken. As it looks like Brian Grubbs actually did leave the session, unfortunately. But you're going to see right here, going down the back straightaway. Right here, going into the back straightaway. Get a good look at it here. Going into turn number 3, so the 8 diving in on the inside. He slides up the racetrack into the door of the 03 of Corey Rexford. That sends him spinning sideways. He makes a hard turn back to the right. Did a great job to keep that car in control and off of the 13 Machine into Stewart as well. But unfortunately, behind him, you see the 34 of Corey Boudinot and the 7 Victor Valley make contact. And then the 34 actually went up and hit the side of the 03 again, as the 86 ended up hitting the spinning 7 Machine. He got a lot of left side damage from that contact. So already, just pretty much lap 1 here, pretty much a lot of chaos happening. As we take a look now on board with the 34 Machine of Corey Boudinot, as we go into turn number 3 here. And you can see the contact right in front of them with Matt Jackson and Corey Rexford. And it looks like you see the 7, he hits the brakes and turns down the racetrack, trying to avoid the 03 Machine. And unfortunately, the 34 was just there on his inside. He comes down across the nose of the 34, makes contact with him, but then it sends 34 into the side of the 03. Pretty big accident here. Only 4 cars, but still pretty large number out of the field here tonight. Especially just lap 1 pretty much. Take a look at that from the eye in the sky here. As this track is pretty much just a one-groove racetrack, honestly. Right there in that 3rd groove, right, that seam right there below the darker pavement. And you see that Matt Jackson just went underneath the 03. The 03 was actually way at the racetrack, so he gave plenty of room. But Matt Jackson just misjudged it and sent it in the corner a little bit too hard and got inside of the 03 Machine. Then, of course, the contact, the guy's trying to miss him in the back. And then, Carlos gets a piece of it at the end. But it's pretty easy to do, honestly, here in New Hampshire, to see Douglas Carlson has some serious wheel damage there. His left front wheel looks to be locked up, and that's because of the contact there for him. The 7 machine is going to take the green flag here. Tommy Gossett on the gas, but the 86 still having the issue with that left front wheel. Is going to have to pit here once again and try to fix that car, as that's going to be tough to fix. I believe you actually have to leave the session. It's kind of an iRacing glitch, I believe, unfortunately. So it's going to pretty much take him out of contention for his win here tonight already before we reach lap number 5. But anyway, for the race lead, comes to 13, Nathan Stewart underneath the 80, Tommy Gossett, as the L3 Corvexter right there in 3rd place, got into the outside wall a little bit off turn number 4, but nothing too severe to be too concerned about. With the 80 now of Tommy Gossett up on the outside as the 13 dives in and down on the apron, trying to get an arc off the corner, but the 80 gets the run up on the high side. He's going to try to pull out ahead here, about a 1-2 car length lead as we now head into turn number 3 here once again. 80 of Tommy Gossett way up the racetrack, just running a pretty interesting line here. But hold on to the race lead for now as we complete lap number 6 of 110. Tommy Gossett, your race leader here currently. Nathan Stewart trying to take that position from him, however, as he comes up off the corner and is still right there on the rear bumper in the tire tracks of the 80s. The 80 is running a pretty high line up there, running on that dark part of the track. You don't usually see many guys running up that place in the racetrack, but that's exactly where he's running right now. Is Nathan Stewart got to run to his inside, but was not quite able to get good enough of a run of it, complete that pass. That means he sends it off into turn number 1 and tries to get the corner exit he needs to complete this pass. He has the advantage now coming off turn number 2 down the back straightaway, but just not, again, able to take that position away from Tommy Gossett as of yet, but still right there on his inside. As you see, Douglas Carlson still having the issue with that left front wheel. I'm guaranteed he's probably to use a fast spare, but he just can't get that glitch fixed, unfortunately, without having to leave the session and rejoin it. So, unfortunate already, Douglas Carlson having these issues at the very start of the race here. After getting caught in an accident, wasn't even his fault. Unfortunately, he's going to... Oh, we got Corey Rexford sideways off turn number 2. He kind of blinked out right there, and he came back and pancaked the outside wall, but luckily 2 good saves already now for him throughout this race. As now you see the battle for the race to continue. Nathan Stewart getting very aggressive underneath Tommy Gossett. Nothing too crazy, but right there, so the 80 kind of pinch him off the corner, and this battle for the race lead definitely heating up between his two drivers. As Nathan Stewart down there on the inside, kind of coming off the apron right there. Off turn number 2, pretty interesting line, one that usually works out pretty well. It does make you get a little bit tighter off the corner though, as you turn the wheel more, and also kind of burns up your tires just a little bit. But now we got a 3-man race. Nathan Stewart's actually trying to come to pit road, however. So green flag pit stops here only on lap 10. I'm not quite sure what the reason for that was, because these guys definitely can obviously make it further on the field. Maybe he just figured that he would try to pit earlier, or potentially he may even have to leave, as you mentioned that for the start of the race. But Tommy Gossett now has a pretty good sized lead over second place Matt Jackson, with Corey Budonat right there in 3rd, unfortunately with the paint scheme glitch. As Matt Jackson now trying to hold him off for that position. Running aboard with the 34 machine now. Underneath Matt Jackson in the 8 entry. They come off of turn number 2 here, door to door. 8 has the run off up on the top side. They'll hold that position for now. See right there in the back of that car in loving memory. Let's see if I get a better angle here. Of James Jackson. Budonat still trying to get the run underneath him, but just not quite able to get to the inside of Matt Jackson as of yet. He's trying to get here in turn 3, got very close. Left for a corner pin right there of the 8 entry. Turn now with Matt Jackson, see 34 behind him right there. Going to turn 1 and 34 to try to dive it into the inside once again here. But is not quite able to complete that pass. As you see the gap now between your top 4 drivers here. It looks like Nathan Stewart is still on pit road, so indeed, I believe he did have to go leave or do something, unfortunately. Douglas Carlson's actually joined us here in the broadcast booth after, unfortunately, having an early exit from tonight's race. How you doing, Douglas?
I'm doing all right. A little mad at myself. Oh, there goes the 13, completely spinning around, bringing out the caution right there.
Nathan Stewart going to run in the back straightaway after coming off of pit road. Several laps down, currently 4 or 5 laps down. We're the second caution flag of the night here tonight on lap number 15. I think he just got loose trying to shift up through the gears coming off pit road right there. Take a look back at it here, and I try to figure out exactly what happened to that number 13 Exalta entry.
Kind of looks like he clipped the grass there just a little bit and just went around.
Yeah, New Hampshire, the pit exit's pretty tight between the, on the apron down there, the yellow line, not much space, and he caught the left side tires in the grass while trying to accelerate, and that was just enough to get the car sideways, and of course, the leader's passing on the outside. He wanted to just spin it and lock it down rather than risk taking out some of the leaders, so good call by Nathan Stewart right there to try to do that, and luckily, even though to prevent the caution, that was only a single car spin for driver 13 machine, so he's going to get away with a unscathed race car, and everybody else is too, so that's always good to see. As some more pit stops now. So it looks like everybody's going to head down onto pit lane here to get into this caution.
Oh, looks like the 3 didn't get into his pit stall quite right. That's going to cost him. Yeah,
Corey Rexford really overshot his box right there. That's going to cost him quite a few positions as Tommy Gossett rolls off first, the 34 off second, beating out the 8 machine there. As now you're going to see Corey Rexford actually probably take some optional repairs. Looks like he's quite a bit of damage that they're hitting the outside wall right there. A few laps prior. But Tommy Gossett going to hold on to the race lead for now.
What do you think about trying to get Tommy Gossett in here and find out how he's looking?
Doesn't sound like a bad idea by any means.
Hey, Tommy. Hey, Tommy. It's Doug up here over at the broadcast booth. How are you looking over there?
I'm looking pretty good. I mean, it's just about keeping my car in check and just pacing myself and not burning my stuff up on these short runs.
All right. Do you think you have enough in order to be able to keep the lead there?
I'm not going to say I do, because I'll dang sure as I say that I'll jinx myself, but I think I do. I'll go that far.
All right. Well, we'll let you get back into the chat there really quick, get back with your teammates there, and good luck on the rest of the race.
All right. Thank you, Doug.
Yep. All right. That is Tommy Gossett, currently your leader.
He's led every single lap completely here so far. Starting from the pole, so definitely the man to beat at the moment, as I believe we've got the 1 to go signal this time by. Pace car light should turn off this time, and indeed they do. And that 13 machine gonna get one of his laps back from that, but still 4 laps down. Still gonna need a lot of cautions to get those laps back. After oddly going down onto pit lane for some reason or another. That we now are down to 4 cars on lead lap. Actually 5 cars lead lap as Victor Valley heads off of pit road after getting all that damage from that first accident. But you were actually involved in there, Doug. Had some suspension issues. Seemed like after that incident.
Yeah, clipped the 7 car there, and that was enough to take us completely out of the race. Just could not get the suspension to work right. No longer had turn, but we're getting ready to restart the field here. Let's see how they do.
Gossett in the field to the restart zone. They're already going here. Pretty early jump of the 80 machine, but of course absolutely legal. It's easy to pull out to about a 2 or 3 car length lead now as Corey sends it into the corner with Matt Jackson right on his rear bumper. They definitely closed the gap pretty quickly there. Tommy Gossett coming off the corner. The 80 going to power up a little bit faster. The rest of the field is a couple guys hit the outside roll right there. The 8 and the L3 machines. They may have scraped it off turn number 2, but Gossett holds onto the race lead, running that 4th groove up there with Corey Brunot now trying to charge in on his inside. It's a pretty good run off of turn number 4 and down the front straightaway, right in the rear bumper here. Now going to turn number 1, is it actually going to go low for the race lead here? Corey Brunot looks like he's actually going to charge himself up to the race lead, but now without a crossover and a fight back
What
from
a
Tommy
beautiful
Gossett.
move right there.
Tommy Gossett with the
that.
crossover. Goes back to the inside and hit the race lead right back from him, but now Corey going to try to challenge him once again for that spot. It might just be a deja vu here as Tommy Gossett gets to run off the corner. Crossover once again. Not quite as fast this time, but it's going to work once again now. Going into turn number 1. And now the 34 goes back down low to try to take the position back away from the 80, but it's going to get a little bit tight off the corner and have to get that spot up. As the Elway actually pancakes the outside wall, and now Matt Jackson gets to the back of him. And luckily, I was able to keep it together, but damage to the 34 and the 8 machines there.
It looks like the 3 car got it as well.
03 Corey Rexford. I think he hit the outside wall a little bit, but luckily for him, I believe he spared mostly front end damage. I think he missed the 8 up in that, going around his outside, but that just shows the aggression of these drivers already here. Only 20 laps in, still 9 laps to go, but challenging that hard for the race lead. As old Corey Rexford goes inside, and almost makes contact with the 34 right there, but he's going to back out of that and get that spot back up to avoid making contact with the 34 machine, so he holds the positions for now. Now, after all of that mess, Tommy Gossett is able to pull up to about a 7/10 of a second lead here over the 34 of Corey. But looks like, look at the relative here, the 34 machine pretty much keeping that even, potentially even closing a little bit on that 80 of Tommy Gossett. Wait and see how this pans out here. It looks like now it's down to about 6/10, but straight away the 80 kind of gets a better run up off the corner. 34 kind of gains on the entry, but then the 80 gains that time back on the exit the corner. So interesting to see. So actually a bit of a cloud cover here over the racetrack, so that could play into how these guys' cars are handling here. Everybody comes off turn number 2 right there, right up against the outside wall. Pretty much trimmed up against it there. As Victor Valley trying to make a pass underneath Matt Jackson. 7 of the 8 machines going out of here in turns number 3 and 4. Nathan Stewart right there behind him, actually going to try to go on the outside of Victor Valley, but again, not only lap, he's actually going to back out of that wisely and fall back in line, back to the back of the pack, as Matt Jackson kind of ran a little bit too high up there. Through turns number 1 and 2, that's going to allow Victor Valley to run up underneath him here off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Victor Valley trying to take away that position. Oh, he just sends it into the corner though, and luckily he's able to keep it down in that bottom groove down there and keep it off of the 8 machine, and actually did not lose too much time from that. So Victor Valley going to try to get that 4th position back. Meanwhile, directly in front of him now, Corey Rexford on the outside of Corey Budinot right there, trying to take away that 2nd position as they come off turn number 2 here to 34. Plows up off the corner, has to turn off the gas a little bit to try to avoid putting the 03 machine in the outside wall, and now that will give the spot to Corey Rexford. So change for 2nd position. It's taking place here now, 1.5 seconds behind the race leader, Tommy Gossett, as he's just loving this and pulling away.
Yeah, Tommy is definitely looking strong right now. That is definitely for sure. But it makes me kind of wonder there, Lucas, how do you think these cars are going to do as we go longer and longer into these runs?
Yeah, New Hampshire is a pretty old surface. It's not as old as other tracks like Atlanta or Auto Club, but still pretty old. And with how much turning you have to do here, with how much arcing you have to do coming off the corner, it really does shoot your tires up quite a bit. And you wouldn't really think so, of course, at New Hampshire, but it does shoot your tires up quite a bit on the car. And I guarantee you, if we get on a caution flag, every 10 laps or so, these guys would be pitting. That's how crucial tires are, and you're going to see if you can save your tires here in New Hampshire, it will absolutely help you on the long run. And as we've seen the 03 machine here actually catch the 80 a little bit, it's gotten under a second here, so getting about 4/10 that lap actually is coming pretty quick. You see kind of enters in that third or fourth groove that comes up off of the second groove coming onto the straightaway there. That chews the tires quite a bit because you turn so much on them, and you put so much wear on that right front tire by trying to push the car up off the corner. As you see, the 03 actually has to get off the gas a little bit to avoid it clipping that wall, and it's costing a little bit of time here on the 80 Tommy Gassi, who's running actually really far up the racetrack right there in turns number 3 and 4, maybe trying to save his tires a little bit by not turning as much off the corner. That might be wrong. I've seen this 03 catch him a little bit. Of course, the reason they enter in that third or fourth groove is because on the bottom of the racetrack, there's really no banking, especially in that very first groove. There's just no banking. It's flat down there, so there is a little bit of banking. It doesn't look like it, but there is a little bit of banking up in that third and fourth groove that kind of helps the car turn into the corner and kind of roll through most of the corner compared to the very bottom lane. But you can, as your Corvex is doing here, is kind of arcing it up off the corner, going down into that bottom lane, and that's shooting his right front tire up quite a bit, but it is a pretty fast way to get around here. See, it kind of charged the core a little bit too much right there, but not as bad as it could have been. Comes up off the corner. You see a slow car down the bottom of the racetrack. That was actually Corey Budenot, not up to speed here, right in front of leaders, about to go a lap down now, and it looks like he will, in fact, have that happen. And I'm actually curious to see what exactly happened to him. If he got involved in a crash or something here.
Yeah,
stayed green.
He got into a crash actually with Victor Valley there. They made some contact over on lap. Let's see here, on lap 31. Coming out of the corner, he is, as you can see there, he is on the low side, and Victor makes just a tiny bit of contact with him. And then going into the corner, it looks like Victor slid. It's what it looks like, and just tapped the 34 enough to get him loose.
And 34 went around the back straightaway. We saw that's the same place the 13 spun out at. And surprisingly, we stayed green. No caution flag was thrown. So it's unfortunate for Corey, as he doesn't have that chance to get caught back up, and he's going to have to basically just hope for a caution here. As he might be looking for revenge, though. There's also a possibility here as he's going pretty slow, going into turn number 1 here, as the 13 going to pass him again several laps down, and now 13 Nathan Stewart's kind of slowing down up next to him. They're going to door each other actually down that straightaway here. 34 going to speed back up, and there's Victor Valley, so we're going to see if there is any confrontation between these two on the track. As Nathan Stewart actually going to give him a bump right there now. 34 going to slow down and let him by. And there's the 7 machine. Victor Valley going to go on by 34, going to pull in behind him and go into turn number 1. He's going to dump him.
Oh, whoa.
Into the outside wall. And now the caution flag is now out. As 34, Corey Brunette getting revenge and payback on the 7 machine right there, Victor Valley. After the contact they made earlier off turn number 2. Put us under the 3rd caution flag of the night.
And it looks like Corey is, he's been black flagged. He's been told, take it to the holler.
34 machine of Corey Budonat getting disqualified race officials after intentionally getting the 7 machine there. So his night is done, and that's pretty unfortunate. So he seemed to be pretty fast. We saw him battle the lead earlier with Tommy Gossett. But of course, actions on the track overruled that. So we're going to take a look back at this once again here. And they're right on board now with the 34 of Corey Budonat. First, we're going to see what exactly caused the altercation between the two of them here. As you're going to see, going into turn number 1 here, the 7 machine got loose on corner entry, then got into the back of the 34 of Corey. And then coming up off the corner, the 34 just kind of checked up for some reason or another. I'm not quite sure if he was loose after that contact, or he was maybe trying to slow down in front of the 7 to teach him a lesson or something like that. I'm not quite sure what exactly was the reason. He was slow coming off the corner right there. But the 7 machine just got in the back of him, basically dumped him coming off the corner, and then no caution flag came out for the 34. So he had to get back going, and then of course made his revenge about 6 laps later.
It definitely looks like he turned him. That's what it definitely looks like.
We saw that 13-8th of Stewart, one of the race officials, of course, about 4 laps down, trying to basically keep the 34 from doing that, but unfortunately he wasn't able to do it as going to return number 1. Definitely, no question about it, intentional. So that would put us under the 3rd caution flag of the night, like I mentioned, and everybody looks like they've already made their pit stops here, and Tommy Gossett will hold on to the race lead for now. As we take this opportunity now to go under our first commercial break, but we'll be right back for the rest of the coverage here tonight from New Hampshire.
Coming for a splash. Three, two, one, now. All clear. Punch it. Great job. You did really well.
Like live here at the National Speedway for the Welcome Home Jayme Class 200. As I better to hit the green flag here once again. Got Gossett on the gas pedal. We're backing away here, lap 43. Looks like the 8 machine Max Jackson is going to take away 2nd place from the 03 of Corey Rexford. Got a little bit loose right there going to turn number 1. But he's going to hold on onto the 03 Proximity Racing Chevrolet Camaro as we come off turn number 2 here on the rope right now of Matt Jackson. So you see the 13 of Ethan Stewart behind, 2 laps down now, so he's making it up slowly but surely here as we're developing that battered number 7 machine after being involved down 2 accidents, or technically 3. Still on track, currently lapping 4th. And you see the 03 of Rexford take away the 2nd position for Matt Jackson, who's going to pancake the outside wall coming off of turn number 2 there. And now we're going to turn number 3, the 13 Nathan Stewart, 2 laps down. Kind of puts a little bit of a slide job right there on Matt Jackson, the 8 Napa Chevrolet. I'm sure the 8 probably not too happy about that. Of course, being that aggressive move from a lap car is going to turn number 1 here. 13 drives it in hard on the outside and clear of the 8 now coming off of turn number 2. Now the battle for race lead might just heat up here as Corey Rexford has caught your race leader, Tommy Gossett. Again, led every single lap so far here tonight from New Hampshire. After starting on the pole. But he might just lose that streak here as Corey Rexford is all over the rear bumper of him going into turn number 1. Now looks to the inside coming off of turn number 2. He's going to climb back out of that pass there as he's going to get tied up with turn number 2 and has to back out of that, fall back in the line and try to set up another run here. But it's certainly still there and trying to pressure the 80 Tommy Goss a little bit into a mistake if possible here. Come down onto the front stretch across that finish line and complete another circuit here. Now coming off number 2, another good run for the 03 machine.
Oh, there's Corey Rexford. He's coming in, trying to make a move up to the low side. It looks like he might be able to get it.
Has the advantage going to turn number 3, but the 8 going to drive it in and hold his ground up on the outside lane to get the run off of the corner here. As the 03 is going to check up as he washes up out of the corner. Nathan Stewart is up here in a battle with these guys. Actually looks to the low side of the 03, but again, 2 laps down, not actually battling these guys for position. It's going to shake things up here a little bit here as Corey Rexford will clear him coming off turn number 2, but has lost a lot of ground now to the 80 machine. About 4/10 of a second is that gap now. As he comes off turn number 3 here, turn number 4 here once again now, gain about 10th throughout that section of the track as he now goes in turners 1 and 2. Gets a really good run here off of turn number 2. So you see the 80 of Tommy Gossi here just potentially trying to save his tires a little bit more there. Remember, Tommy came up just short last week at Kansas, so in the victory. As the reserve machine, Brian Grubbs is able to get it there. Unfortunately, of course, he's not in this race here tonight after practicing. So now it's the 80 machine in control of this race.
Well, there's the 13 trying to make a move on the 03 right there. Looks like he's trying to get some of them laps back.
And Stu, currently 2 laps down and trying to get his lap back the hard way. And of course, I highly doubt that's going to be very possible to, in fact, it's pretty much going to be impossible overall to try and get both his laps back here if we do stay green. But now, with him past the 80 of Tommy Gossett, it's not going to allow the 03 to get to his inside. The 80 will lead that circuit around the track there. Considering his streak so far in this race, the 03 definitely had a huge run right there. Looks like it's going to fade here as he gets tight in going into turn number 1, has to back out of it. But 60 laps to go here from New Hampshire, not quite halfway, but we're approaching about 5 laps here. The 03 is definitely proving it's a fast race car. Run off turn number 2, he's having some connection issues, unfortunately. Definitely not making things super easy here, but it's not been absolutely terrible, so looks like he's going to stay stabilized here through turns number 3 and 4. Coming up off the corner, going to get another run there on Tommy Gossett, but unfortunately not quite enough to take the position away from the 80 entry, but he turns from 1 here, 2 here once again, rolling through the corner, coming up off the corner. You can see he's just kind of arcing the corner more than the 80 is. 80 kind of just running that 4th groove and potentially saving his tires a little bit as the 03 kind of charges into that 4th groove, then kind of lets off the gas and gets an arc off the corner, which works as long as he's on a carp and you're outside. You have to let off the gas for him. And these guys are kind of battling and also kind of right behind that 13 machine, who's now just 1 lap down. Matt Jackson's also directly behind these guys. He could potentially make it a try-some for this race lead here.
Yeah, definitely. Matt's definitely shown that he's got some long-run speed there. Definitely.
Does have some of that nose damage after getting to the back of the 34 earlier in the race, around lap 20 or so. But does not seem to be affecting his car too much, at least here. As he's only half a second now behind the race leader, Tommy Gossett. So I'll work into turn number 1 here once again. And completion of this lap will be halfway here. So it's going by pretty fast. And the 80 has led half of the race here so far. And Matt Jackson now has caught these guys right looking underneath the L3, but the L3 going to get him off the corner and actually looking underneath the 80 of Tommy Gossett. So lap 55 gets completed here. We officially approach halfway. Gossett still holds on to the race lead right there in front of the 03 and the 8s, and also directly behind that 13 of Nathan Stewart, who's 1 lap down. And basically just looking for a caution. If he does get a caution, he's going to get his lap back as a free pass and actually put him back to the lap. But currently he's staying right ahead of this battle for the race lead. As it's kind of spread out a little bit more. The 80's pulled away just a little bit over the 03, and the 03's kind of gapped the 8, Matt Jackson, as well. But still right there. It looks like the 13 maybe a little bit slower than these guys now, as the 03 gets a huge run off turn number 2, but he's going to hit the outside wall as Matt Jackson hits the outside wall really hard off turn number 2, and it's going to cost about a second or so to the race leaders. They have to make it back up all that time he lost right there. Tommy Gossett continue to hold off that 03 of Corey Rexford here. Gap is about 2.5 tenths. It's now reel it in as the 03 only about 1 car length behind the 80 of Tommy Gossett. Just looking to try to find a mistake out of the 80, or just trying to find a way he can get a run off the corner and look to the inside of Tommy and take that position from him, but he's not able to do that so far here. And of course, the position away from him is one thing, but trying to hold him off as well is the second thing. As you saw, the 34 earlier in the race took the position away from him a couple of times, and the 80 just kept crossing him over and taking that spot right back. So right there behind the 13, Nathan Stewart actually up in the 5th groove, it looks like here. Pretty much sure next to the outside wall is the 13 Nathan Stewart going to get a run off the corner here and hold onto just 1 lap down. But the 80 of Tommy Gossett, he's kind of stayed aside a little bit here, and he's ready to try to pass that 13. The 13's actually kind of holding him up here a little bit in case you get another caution here and get his lap back, of course. So trying to hold that position on him and keep the 80 of Tommy Gossett from behind. And of course, this 03 wants that 13 to hold the 80 up as long as possible so he can get a run on the 80 of Tommy Gossett the race lead. But unfortunately for him, that's not going to happen, as Tommy Gossett going to put Nathan Stewart back 2 laps down. So now the 13 is in front of the 03, going to hold him up a little bit. So battling now in between the battle for the race lead is that 13 Exalta Chevrolet. Just 50 laps to go now for New Hampshire. Not a ton of time left for these guys. Of course, we will have to see green flag pit stops in this run. These guys cannot make it the rest of the way on fuel, so it's interesting to see how that plays out. So 13 holding up the 03. The 03 getting pretty impatient now. Of course, that is a lap car in front of him. And I'm sure we might just see the bumper here in a few moments. Just ends up passing cleanly here. As this is costing him time, the race lead is actually going to dump him and now turn himself also into the outside wall. Nathan Stewart and Corey Rexford. Nathan Stewart being 2 laps down in front of the L3 machine, who's in 2nd place, and not quite sure if that was his misjudgment or he was a little bit mad at him and frustrated. He's going to turn the L3 machine, turn the 13 machine there and cause a lot of front end damage to his race car as well. To look back at that and get another angle of it. And that'll bring out the 4th caution flag now of the Knights, and I eliminate that green flag pit stop I was talking about. Going into turn number 3, just see I got left for a corner panel of him, and basically just turned him around, and then he hit the brakes, but the brake bias Apparently, it was pretty low in the 03. He got him sideways when he hit the brakes. Then he got into the door, pretty much T-boned to the 13 machine perfectly, and then turned him up into the outside wall, and then caused more damage to both of those machines. So, we're going to take a little look from right here. From the eye in the sky, our chopper camera. See right here, just, three pretty much got left for a corner pin, all of them, and just hooked him around. I'm not sure if he thought he was clear, he was going to try to fall back in line behind him, or he just, got frustrated and decided to take him out. But he locked the brake, trying to miss him, and unfortunately got right in the door with him, and then turned him and pushed him up into the outside wall even more. So yeah, only a 2-car accident here. He's going to bring out the caution. As back live here, Tommy Gossett has held on to the race lead here once again. First off of pit road, and a big gap actually back to second place, which would be Matt Jackson, the 8. He's going to roll off now in second place. We saw him in that last run before he hit the outside wall of turn number 2. He had actually gained the time of the leaders and caught them and was battling with them for those positions. So it might be interesting to see what he can do. The 7 machine Victor Valley all total up, but he's still on track. Corey Rexford, I think it's optional pairs after that incident. Can avoid just going a lap down here. And we'll send lead lap here. And we'll restart in 4th place is Nathan Stewart, where he was 2 laps down. He's actually now only 1 lap down, and we'll get one of his, this will be him getting his lap back, so he will be just 1 lap down now, and we'll need another caution. Of course, it's probably not the way he wanted to have the caution come out, but we'll need another one here to get himself back on the lead lap. And we saw him have a fast race car there. He was able to pass Tommy Gossett and Corey Rexford and Matt Jackson. Pretty much the whole field, he came from last up to first there in that run before getting passed back a handful of laps later. As we should see the one to go signal this time by. The 13 will get ready to run the pace car. Get the one to go signal. The pace car lights are out. And I want to get set here for the restart. Once again, only 45 laps to go now. We continue to get down to the thick of things again. These guys will not have to pit, as these guys will make it all the way to the rest of the way on fuel and tires, of course. So see Corey Rexford having some connection issues back there on the back stretch, and you see it's looking might actually have to lift the 7 by here. Victor Valley, not quite sure. Victor Valley actually had him back down pit road, I believe, to get some more damage fixed on that Pepsi Chevrolet, but through turns number 3 and 4 here, the field's gonna pace, and might be getting set here for what might be the last restart of tonight's race. 80 machine, Tommy Gossett up and away. Yeah, a pretty early restart there for the 80. Wasting no time to get on that gas and pull away to the race lead, but now Matt Jackson actually going to get a huge run to the inside. Will take that position away. So Matt Jackson losing the race lead for the first time tonight, but can the 80 get him back here going into turn number 3? Looks like he's not going to be able to do so. So the first lead change of tonight as far as a different leader crosses the finish line first. Matt Jackson will lead the very first lap. Tommy Gossett's not led tonight, but Tommy Gossett not going to let him get away with that for long. It's down to the bottom of the racetrack and trying to pull a little bit of a slider here, but he's not quite able to complete that pass. And Matt Jackson now going to get the run up off the corner. Actually scrapes out to the wall a little bit. And I signed it on the turn number 3. Tommy Gossett has the advantage. He's going to look low. He's going to throw it into the corner, pull a slider onto the 8. But we'll see the 8 trying to cross over. It looks like the 80's actually going to shut the door on him there. So textbook pass right there by the 80 of Tommy Gossett. And take that race lead right back from the 8 machine. That's his path for the rest of the race here. Victor Valley, even with that total race car, he's still looking up here in 3rd place. Not far behind these guys. So far, the 80 of Tommy Gossett still the man to beat here. Again, that's the only lap he did not lead all of tonight. That's starting from the pole. So, dominant performance here by the 80 of Tommy Gossett. Only one out of these 4 cars with a clean race cars. You see Matt Jackson actually almost up in the outside of the wall right there on turn number 2. That's going to cost him a lot of time. He's actually going to pull back here, I believe, about 8 tenths or so, 9 tenths even, about a second behind your race leader, Tommy Gossett. They're coming up to 40 laps to go. It's going to be pretty hard to make back up. He's kind of charging it hard in the corners, going all the way up to the 5th groove up there, pretty much right next to the outside wall, and it's costing him quite a bit of time. He's still on to 2nd place here, ahead of Victor Valley and Corey Rexford, but 80 Machine just continues to pull away here. Tommy Gossett still running that 4th groove, kind of like coming up off the corner in the 3rd groove. Basically just getting in a rhythm and running that line and not looking back. Matt Jackson at 1.3 seconds back. You got Victor Valley right there in 3rd place. Corey Rexford still right there in 4th. And Nathan Stewart looking for a caution here to get himself back in the lap here. And of course, with all that damage from getting turned there by the 03.
To 3rd place and try to continue on for this win.
So holding the race lead actually, but almost coming out to the wall right there. In turns are 3 and 4. So approaching only 25 laps to go here in just 1 lap. As Nathan Stewart actually pulled back off the racetrack there for some reason, so now he's going to be 4 laps down. And actually, I think he had to make a group of pit stop right there because he decided to waiver under that previous caution. So unfortunately for him, he's out of able to make up any positions here. And of course, somebody crashes out. And he's actually going to send it into turn number 3 there. Almost got out to the wall as well. But that was a 7-second gap as your race leader Tommy Gossett over Corey Rexford and Matt Jackson. Victor Valley's falling back now back to 4th place after working his way up to about 2nd or 3rd there. Also want to apologize for weird problems there with the stream, but hopefully everything's working back fine and dandy now. As just 25 laps to go, not having 24 this time by. Of course, with no green flag pit stops necessary here for the rest of the race. It's basically going to be just the machine trying to have a caution flag come out, or just hope for a caution flag not to come out, as he's in a French cruise victory here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, it looks like Tommy is just pulling away from that second pack.
Oh, maybe he's saving fuel. Tommy Gossett actually on the clutch right there. You heard put that clutch in and still letting it roll. So maybe these guys will have to actually pit for fuel here. I didn't think they would have to, but the 80 machine saved fuel back on the clutch once again. Now down by straight into turn number 3. And trying to clutch and coast here a little bit. This could play a huge factor in the finish of this one with that fuel mileage. I think that was actually probably why he was at the wall there a few laps ago. As you see right there, next to the wall, because he's letting the car roll really far in, saving that, putting that clutch in and letting it roll, trying to use less brake and let it. They're basically just, being off the gas as much as possible.
And being as far ahead as he is, it's actually a really smart play, especially when you're trying to save fuel mileage there, because as you can see, he slows down, and let's see here, his lowest corner is 96 miles an hour, but most people are averaging about 100 coming through those corners, and he's able to do that as long as he has those cars as far back as he can. He has all that time to just save fuel.
And then, of course, if he is able to save fuel all the way to the end, and actually, Court Rexford actually going to come to pit road here, so he's going to opt out of second place, and he's going to be the first of these leaders to drop down onto pit lane and get that fuel in the car that's necessary. 20 laps to go here. So now, if Tommy Gossett can make it to the end, of course, Matt Jackson's still 6.8 seconds behind him, but of course, no way they can close that gap and save enough fuel at the same time to make it to the end, unless they were saving fuel at the start of the run, which could, of course, be possible, but I don't really know if that is the truth or not. I don't think so. But now we're under 20 laps to go, as Matt Jackson's the only car on the lap besides the 80. Of course, of Tommy Gossett. So as Corvex goes a lap down, went off of pit road. I believe he just got a splash and go, actually. It looks like, yeah, only got a splash and go, or even maybe 2 tires. Couldn't quite tell there, but 7 seconds now is the gap for the 80. Still on the clutch and just letting it roll through the corner, saving as much fuel as possible. He's in full fuel conservation mode now. He just now got back on the gas on the front straightaway, so saving a ton of fuel here is the 80 race leader Tommy Gossett. And of course, as you mentioned there, Doug, that big of a gap might as well, make it to the end on fuel if you're able to.
Definitely, as long as you can hold on to that clutch and you can coast through those corners, you save more and more fuel every time you do it. And if you look right here, now he's coming into pit road. Interesting strategy. Will Corey be able to get enough speed in order to be able to steal that lead from Tommy? This could definitely be an interesting fuel mileage game.
And we saw the 80 saving that much fuel there. He was losing time to the 03. The 03 pitted a few laps ago. He took 2 tires and went away. So we're going to see if Tommy Gossett takes 4 tires here, which I don't believe he will. But if he does, that might just play into... he's going to take right side tires here for now. We're going to see if left sides go up or not. Looks like they are not. So it's just... No, there are 4 tire pit stop for Tommy Gossett. And Corey Rexford is going to pass him here. Take the race lead away. But now Tommy Gossett is away off of pit road. Not that far behind Corey. Only a few seconds. He now has 4 fresh tires to go chase down the 03 machine of Corey Rexford. It's a very interesting battle here with just 15 laps to go. And while this is all going on, Matt Jackson and Victor Valley is still out on the racetrack, still saving fuel potentially. He's going to see the 8. He's not going to pit this time, so he's going to take 15 laps to go now. He's still out on the racetrack. And if these guys make enough fuel, they're going to definitely play a huge shakeup as far as this whole race goes. As you see, Corvexter is still a good ways ahead of Tommy Gossett. I believe the gap is currently looks like about 3 seconds or 2.5 seconds. So it's a pretty decent gap. And of course, the 80 being those 4 fresh tires is going to catch him really quick. But we've seen how hard it has been to pass here in New Hampshire. Definitely very interesting to see how this shakes out. So definitely some major strategy plays here. Matt Jackson and Victor Valley still staying out on the racetrack here. Victor Valley actually going to come to pit road potentially. No, he's not. He's just going to go down the apron right there, try to cut the track a little bit more, and try to use his, burn as little gas as possible. He's actually also on the clutch and going to roll through the corners here. As a battle that might be for the race lead. Let's tighten up a little bit, it looks like. So definitely some interesting strategies. We've seen the 8 and the 7 stay out so far. The 80 was saving fuel. He decided to take 4 tires. The 03 took only 2 tires. But we're coming up to 10 laps to go here in just a handful of laps. Can the 8 and the 7 make it on fuel, and can the 03 hold off the 80? See, Nathan Stewart getting one of his laps back right there. Going to pass the 8 machine up. Get one of his laps back, so Jackson still hold on to the race lead for now, still trying to save and conserve enough gas to make it to the end of the race here. I just don't know if it's going to be possible. We've seen the 80 save the fuel. He decided just to pit instead of trying to make it to the end of the race, and I believe he was saving fuel way longer than these guys have been, so it's stuff very interesting. The strategy is definitely going to play into somebody's hands here. And the 80 of Tommy Gossett is catching a race leader there, Corey Rexford. He wants to get that race lead back from the 03, or what will be the race lead, I should say. If the 8 and 7 cannot make it a gas, or if they lose so much time, they get passed up on the track. And that gap is closing at about 1 second here as we're coming up to 10 laps to go next time by. And Jackson Victor Valley still out on track, still have enough fuel in their tank. And the gap between Victor Valley and Corey Rexford is only 11 seconds, so that very well could be gained if the 7 continues to go into full conservation mode on fuel. And Davis going to roll off with turn number 4 here. Gets 10 laps to go from New Hampshire. Does he have enough fuel to make it to the end?
This race is now definitely getting exciting. Of course, I'm kind of interested in seeing what Matt's planning to do here with the 13 of Nathan Stewart here. Is he going to try to stay behind Nathan Stewart and continue to save fuel, or is he going to try to pass him and try to get a car in between him and the second place car?
And you see Victor Valley, he's actually catching this A machine a little bit. He's gaining about a second amount. Oh, it's Corey Rexford going to pancake the outside wall off turn number 2. And that will give up any chance he has to win this race now, as Tommy Gossett is going to pass him up for what is currently 3rd place. But if these guys cannot make enough fuel, that will be the pass for the race win. So Corey Rexford getting crushed into a mistake right there and hit the wall really hard off turn number 2. He's honestly pretty lucky he didn't wreck it. Is now going to give that race, that 3rd place back to Tommy Gossett. As Matt Jackson, remember, he was actually kind of not that far behind Tommy Gossett, and he kind of fell behind. So I'm wondering if he was saving fuel actually during that first part of the run, because he knew that it was just going to be short on fuel. As you have 8 laps to go now, he's on the clutch by the sounds of it now. Going further into fuel conservation mode, but you might just have enough to make it. It's going to get pretty close here. So as he rolls to turn number 3 and 4 here, now it's going to be 7 laps to go. So 2 more laps, and we get inside that window where the caution flag comes out, we'll end the race under the yellow. Tommy Gossett only 11 seconds back now in 3rd place on his 4 fresh tires, chasing these guys down. He's going to probably catch the 7 machine here before the end of the race, if they do enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. But 10 seconds now is the gap between 1st and 3rd. I don't think there'll be enough to catch the 8, even how much fuel he's saving with just 6 laps to go this time. By 8, Matt Jackson actually hit the outside wall right there. That's how long he's letting it roll in the corner, but you know, the finish with a clean car. His car's already tore up anyway, so it doesn't make much of a difference. It's just trying to save that fuel, burn as little gas as possible. He's actually hit the wall pretty harder that time. this time Byron will be 5 laps to go, and I'm sure he's probably going to hope for the caution flag here. So it looks like Tamagotchi is gaining about a second or two a lap. He might just catch these guys. It's now down to 8 seconds, it looks like, 8.5 seconds or so. 5 laps to go here from New Hampshire. Matt Jackson holds on the race lead for now, but trying to make it on that one tank of fuel there. Victor Valley still currently in second, but not that far ahead of Tommy Gossett, who is a clean race car, 4 fresh tires, and a full tank of fuel. As now Nathan Stewart still right in the rumper there of Matt Jackson as a lap car, so off to number 4 here once again. 4 laps to go now. 4 more miles for the 8 machine to make it. And of course, these guys are teammates, so you might just see the 13 push the 8 around this racetrack if he does run out of fuel here. You never know.
Isn't that what teammates are for, though? To help you get to your win, you know?
That would definitely be pretty interesting. But while this is happening, Tamagotchi is catching these guys. He's about to take second place for Victor Valley. Here comes now on the low side. Tamagotchi gonna move himself up into second place as he's gonna pass the number 7 machine. He's still trying to save enough fuel. 4 seconds is the gap and 3 laps to go. If this 8 has enough fuel to make it, he's got to hit the gas pedal now and go for it, as he's gonna get passed up here in a lap or two if he doesn't. Tamagotchi definitely catching him here, and nice to see the 13 also be his roadblock for him, as you see 13 actually pushing him down on the back shoulder right there, trying to help him burn as little fuel as possible. But the fuel is that's the biggest concern at the moment, as Tamagotchi is coming through turns number 3 and 4 here very fast. 2 laps to go for New Hampshire. Gap's about 1.5 seconds back to the 80, who's charging it in hard on these guys. It's going to get very close.
Victor Valley is out of gas.
That's unfortunate here for him, as he's going to fall back to 4th place now, but the balance of the race lead here, and I believe it's going to go to the 80s. 80 charges it hard into the corner. He's going to wash way up the racetrack and out of the groove. But Matt Jackson is still trying to save that fuel. Here's the 80, another huge run. Nathan Stewart going to try to throw the block on him, though. Down low, here goes Tamagotchi. White flag from New Hampshire, as the 80 is going to fly around the 8 of Matt Jackson. Matt Jackson going to go around the outside here once again, but he does not have enough fuel in the tank, I don't believe. It's going to get close as he comes off the corner. He's out of gas. Matt Jackson's sputtering on the gas. Nathan Stewart is going to push him, but it's not going to be enough for the race win, as through turns number 3 and 4 for the final time. And off of turn number 4, here goes the 80 of Tamagotchi. He waits to the last lap to make the pass to race win, but he's going to get it here. It's redemption from last week at Kansas, and Tamagotchi wins here from New Hampshire.
Matt Jackson takes second. Corey takes third. Victor Valley finishes 4th. And Nathan Stewart finishes it in 5th.
What a crazy strategy race that came down to there at the end, as you saw the 03 take 2 tires. He looked like he may have made a money move there for the race win, but then Tamagotchi taking 4 tires out of the race lead, so that the 8 and the 7 try to make it on fuel as the 80 crashes against the wall right there to pass inspection. He's going to do some burnouts here on the front stretch from New Hampshire. The race winners tonight, Tamagotchi. He's going to do a little Polish victory lap here around the track. Came second place and oh so close to victory last week at Kansas, and just his first start of the season after being out so long of the car. And going to get his redemption here tonight to New Hampshire, pick up the victory. His first VASR Stock Car Championship career win. Looks like he's going to complete a full lap here around New Hampshire, Missouri in reverse. Celebrate with the fans. We're going to take this opportunity now to go on a quick commercial break, but don't go away. We're right back with the post-race show. Interviews to the top few finishers. And of course, let's look at the results here, top to bottom. So we're right back after these short messages. Well, we're glad here to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway as wrap things up here from New Hampshire. We're in with your top three. Fortunately, top two finishers as fortunately we do not have quarterback expert available to talk with, but we're going to get a word in with your second place finisher, Matt Jackson, as Douglas is with him. No matter how we handle it. Matt Jackson, get a copy.
Holy, yeah, I do.
So, Matt, after a crazy fuel mileage finish there for you, after trying to hold off the 80 machine there and trying to have enough fuel in the tank to make it to the end, and I do believe you ran out of gas there on a white flag there coming out of turn 2, and luckily for you, your teammate there, the 13 machine, Nathan Stewart, able to push you home to a second place finish, but crazy battle there at the end after 80. Made a green for a pit stop, and then was able to reel you in and pass you while you were trying to save enough fuel to make it to the end. Stuck with that crazy race, of course. Overall, you were the only guy who was able to pass the 80 machine of Tommy Gossett and lead a lap. So I guess that's pretty good to chalk it up as, at least. Still came out with the second place finish at the starting third place tonight, led 18 laps. And let's talk about that finish there at the end there, trying to save enough fuel to make it to the end.
I knew it was going to be very close. Obviously, I didn't quite make it, but my teammate Victor was betting that I couldn't at least get close to making it, and I made it further than he did, and he pitted after I did. So, but yeah, there was no beating Tommy there. He obviously pitted, took advantage of it, and I couldn't save enough to be able to try to defend. But no, I'd like to thank Nathan for pushing me to the line. That was nice of him, although people were kind of mad about it. Oh well, they can deal with it. I don't know. That was just quite an eventful race between not having much of a driver count and whatnot. But I feel like that's going to grow within the coming weeks. New Hampshire's a difficult track, and I can see why not a lot of people would want to show up. But it would have been nice to see more people.
Yeah, of course, you saw that last run there, with the 80 points just hunting you down. You might as well keep the John Stevenson on there. And of course, you're trying to make sure you had enough fuel in the tank to make it to the end, which is unfortunate for you to not have that. But some of it was going through your mind there and what you were trying to accomplish, of course, trying to get the victory, but trying to, to do there, what was your game plan over that whole run, knowing that you're going to be a little bit short on fuel, and what was going through your mind there where the 80 was chasing you down?
Well, what happened is when I saw him pit, I completely spaced and forgot that the race was 110 laps. I thought it was only 100 laps. That's all on me. So I didn't really start saving as soon as I should have, or as hard as I should have. I think if I would have saved a little bit harder, I would have had a better shot. But oh well, it's racing. Stuff's gonna happen. But what was going through my mind was when I realized that I spaced and didn't save enough. I was like, well, I guess I gotta start saving a lot harder. And unfortunately, I was half a lap short. Just the way it goes.
Yeah, of course, obviously, I'm probably a little bit disappointed you were able to get the victory here tonight, but again, overall, still a good runner-up finish for you, a good point stay, of course. Any shout-outs and things you want to give out here that brought home to a second place finish here tonight?
First shout-outs go, shout-out to Napa, Exalta, my team owner, Victor, teammates Douglas, Tommy, and Nathan, and really just all the people that come out and race with us. It's a cool thing.
Already,
no, never mind. You can go ahead.
Already, well, appreciate your time here, Matt. Again, congratulations on second, and we'll see you here next week.
Oh yeah, see you next week.
As driver of the 8 machine, Matt Jackson finishing off in second place, but his teammate and race winner tonight, Tommy Gossett in the 80. We're now.
I'm listening to you.
Tommy Gossett, get a copy.
Yes, sir. I got a copy.
So, Tommy, you managed to pull off a little bit of redemption after a run-up finish last week at Kansas. You're the man on a mission here today. You're able to get the job done after making the last lap pass there on the 8 machine, who was trying to conserve enough fuel and actually ran out of fuel. You decided to, in the strategy game, take 4 tires. The only guy who decided to pit under green, take 4 tires, of course. And luckily for you, you're able to charge all the way back through the field there and get the race win away after leading almost what would have been pretty much the entirety of the race had you not had to pit there. But starting from the pole tonight, pretty much a dominant performance by you, and of course 1, 2, 3 for your team. Stuck with that race, man.
I didn't have high hopes for it at all. New Hampshire is probably one of, if not my least favorite track on the sim. So I didn't have high hopes for it all. It was a shock when I got the pole, and it was a shock when I showed that much pace. I really don't know what was up with my car tonight, but it was just a really solid race all around. I decided to play conservative. I was only going to take right side tires when I came down to pit, but the more I thought about it, I knew some people were going to try to save fuel and win, so I figured I'd need the 4 tires to just charge back through the field.
Yeah, and of course, we saw the 03, the only other guy who decided to pit there in the green. He took right side tires, and you were able to chase him down. And of course, when he made contact with the wall and almost wrecked it, you, of course, flew by him and then passed the 7, who was trying to conserve enough fuel, and he ran out with about a lap to go. Of course, your teammate there, and the 13, also one of your teammates that was pushing the 8 machine there to the second place at the last lap there. But just the strategy kind of came into play. Did you know at the start of that run that you guys were just going to be a little bit short on fuel?
No, I didn't at first. I was going to try to save enough to make it to the end, and I was checking it out. I was about a lap and a third short, and then the next time I waited 5 laps. I saved for 5 laps, and I was still 0.9 short, and I just didn't have enough confidence in my fuel saving it this time in my career to try to stretch it. So I just came down, took 4, and charged my way.
Yeah, of course, this only being your second start this season after you're making your first appearance last week at Kansas with a second place finish. Now you pretty much dominated this race and obviously jump up further in the points after trying to get yourself into the chase here this season. Just talk about the, of course, not being able to race all that time and now coming in 2 races down and a second and first place finish. Just stuck with that momentum booster and good start to the season for you at least.
Yeah, it's always a confidence booster after being gone for almost 6 months, where you can just come back and start running well and perform. I dang sure didn't. I expect to be a top 5, top 10 car coming back. I didn't expect to have a second and a win and lead laps and be and post fastest laps in both of my races back. I really didn't expect it. It comes as a very welcome shock.
Of course, I'm sure you have some sponsors and thank yous you want to give here after you win here tonight.
Yeah, first off, I want to thank God for being able to put me in this position. I also want to thank God for being able to bring Jayme back home. That's a wonderful thing. I'm glad I could win this race out of all of them this season. If I could pick one, it would definitely be this one under these great circumstances. I want to thank Shannon Strong. Shannon Strong is, of course, in memoriam to my late drama teacher who passed away right after Thanksgiving with a brain tumor. Going to my actual sponsors, I want to thank V2 Design. I want to thank Carly Nagel Photography, Main and Tail, Boss Hoss V8, and Cowboy Magic in the movie. My secondary sponsors, Dirtbag Clothing, NASCAR Banner, Couch Racing Experience, and Sim Speed Shop. They all helped me out a lot, and I couldn't do it without them. And, of course, I want to thank you for the wonderful broadcast work.
Alrighty, definitely mouthful you there, but appreciate your time here, Tom. Again, congratulations on the win, and we'll see you here next week.
See you, Lucas. Thank you.
All right, that was race winner tonight, Tommy Gossett in the number 80 machine. Go to victory lane, and only a second start this season after a run-up finish last week. Gets redemption here tonight, dominating and leading 92 of the 110 laps, and only one lap that he did not lead, if I can say that correctly, under the green flag run there before he decided to onto pitting there in the last run. But again, appreciate everybody watching here tonight. Of course, check us out Friday night for the iRacing East Series from the very first chase race in that series. So looking forward to starting off the chase of the championship there. And of course, next Monday night, actually, Atchison Motorsports Cup Series starts off its first season after running the Xfinity cars last season, transition into the faster and heavier Cup cars this year. That very first race from Daytona is this Monday, so if you do not want to miss that. And of course, next week here in the VASR Stock Car Championship as well. I'm not 100% sure what racetrack we're heading to, unfortunately, next week. But 7:45 Eastern, as always.
It's going to be Bristol.
Bristol. Oh, nice. One of my favorite
Mm-hmm.
racetracks. So it's definitely going to be cool there. Short track racing. We saw the tempers fly a little bit here tonight in New Hampshire. It's imagining what's going to happen to Bristol. But definitely appreciate everybody watching tonight's broadcast. And we'll see you here Friday nights for the S&E series. Have a good night.